Road to WrestleMania, and this is episode number 8, and technically the final show on the Road to WrestleMania, because of course the final video of this series, the next video, will be that WrestleMania event. This is probably the biggest show on the Road to WrestleMania, as this is the final selling point for the event, and I hope that it can deliver 48 hours before WrestleMania. The episode begins with a video looking back at the rivalry between The Fiend and The Undertaker, particularly the segment last week when The Undertaker came out and chokeslammed Bray Wyatt before disappearing, a tactic that The Fiend himself has used a number of times in the build-up to this match. Tonight, Sting is also scheduled to appear, and he will address the attack that The Fiend administered to him 2 weeks ago. As Mustafa Ali makes his entrance for the opening match, he cuts a decent promo, he's fired up, it's one of his Twitter-style social media promos that he does that are really good. He's fired up and he wants the opportunities that Nakamura takes for granted. Nakamura will be defending his title at WrestleMania, while Mustafa Ali isn't currently booked for the card. He wants to prove that he belongs on WrestleMania. He does put in a good performance, and it is a decent match, but he is unable to pick up the victory against a focused and determined Shinsuke Nakamura, who seems to have taken the words of Daniel Bryan to heart. Bryan has been saying that Nakamura could have been the biggest star in the WWE, but he has been lackadaisical and complacent. Bryan comes out and puts over Shinsuke's win last week and his win this week, as well as the attack last week. Nakamura took out Daniel Bryan. Bryan isn't happy about that, but he says that it shows there is still a fire inside Nakamura. As Bryan is saying that, he is jumped by Sami Zayn and Cesaro. Tonight, Sami Zayn will take on Daniel Bryan. Of course, he has been the subject of a lot of Bryan's criticisms aimed towards Nakamura. It's been the fact that Zayn is bringing Nakamura down to his level. Tonight, Zayn is determined to prove that he still has what it takes to perform at the top level in the WWE. We then get a segment with the Kabuki Warriors. They are here to see their opponents for WrestleMania, but they are confronted by Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. They want a match against them, and it's made for later in the night. The tag team champions will face Fire and Desire. We then get a segment with Corbin coming out cutting a cocky promo. He's looking to gain as much heat as possible to build up to Tyson Fury's on-screen appearance. He appears via satellite but says that he is coming to WrestleMania. The speculation has been what Tyson Fury is coming to WrestleMania to do. Well, he gives an answer. He's coming to knock Corbin's block off. So a below average debut for his gimmick there, because he wasn't currently signed to the company when I took over the save. Corbin's struggling to get off script, but it's an okay segment, and that's just going to be a bit of a crossover appeal segment just to put somewhere on the WrestleMania card to break up some of those huge matches we've got planned. Tyson Fury improvising well, which is good to see, and we'll see what he can do at WrestleMania. John Morrison and The Miz then join commentary before the next match. The booth becomes crowded, however, when Braun Strowman and Elias join them. The match is a fairly straightforward, one-sided victory for the New Day and the Usos. They defeat Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler and The Revival, two teams who we've not really got much for, and two teams who aren't currently booked at WrestleMania, against two teams who are in the Elimination Tag Team title match between the two teams we saw sat at ringside before the match, and the two teams who were victorious tonight. Jey Uso sustained a bruised buttock. Both buttocks actually. I think he should be okay for WrestleMania though, although there is a bit of heat on Dash Wilder. Luckily, he's on his way out of the company, so that shouldn't be too much of a long-term issue backstage. Afterwards, the winners of the match stand tall. 4 teams in that elimination match at WrestleMania, all 8 on screen, just putting over that match that is scheduled for Mania. We then get a quick shot of Goldberg's door. He's here tonight, and he's going to speak to Roman Reigns before their WrestleMania match. We then get another video package of Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker, and Sting's involvement in this. At Super Showdown, Sting wrestled The Undertaker. After that event, they convened in the ring to discuss that match to show their respect for each other when The Fiend struck, The Undertaker disappearing and Sting being taken down by that mandible claw. Sting then comes out to cut his promo, the purpose of which is warning Undertaker about The Fiend. He says that he knows how good The Undertaker is. He learnt firsthand at Super Showdown, but this is like nothing he has ever felt before. Taker comes out and says that he won't be backing down to anybody, not least The Fiend. This is his yard. The Fiend is trying to take his position, and he is not going to allow that to happen. The Fiend comes on screen. No Firefly Funhouse Bray today. He says that he is the new phenom of the WWE, and at WrestleMania, The Undertaker is put down for good. So a really good segment there to end the first hour, and we go into the second hour with a video package hyping the rivalry between Goldberg and Roman Reigns. They've thrown some barbs at each other on social media about whose spear is better, but up until now, it has been completely respectful when the two men have met in the middle of the ring. Goldberg is then interviewed, and he hopes that Roman Reigns is ready for a spear. He teases it might come sooner than he thinks, and you never know what's next. The Kabuki Warriors beat Fire and Desire in a fairly straightforward, decisive victory. Not a very long match, a good performance from Asuka, decent from Kairi Sane, but the post-match segment where they bring out Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross is the more important thing. They say that they're here to talk to their WrestleMania opponents. The number one contenders come out, but it's then made clear that this match will not just be a Raw v SmackDown tag team match, but Raw, SmackDown and NXT. The Kabuki Warriors then introduce the third team who will be in that match, Candice LeRae and Tegan Nox. So we're just adding a extra flavour to that match. I didn't think Kabuki Warriors v Bliss Cross was particularly exciting. I don't know if they've done it before in real life, but it just didn't really feel like a WrestleMania match to me, whereas I think adding an NXT representation does just add a bit more to the match and makes it brand warfare, therefore slightly higher stakes. For what we have to admit, the women's tag team titles haven't been pushed particularly well or used particularly well since they came in, and hopefully this can be the catapult into the next year, the next build to the next big show. Of course, I'm not going to be booking that, but hopefully it puts the tag team titles in a slightly higher regard as we end the series. The commentators then introduced an interview from Michael Cole earlier this week. He sat down with Banks and Bayley. The idea is to put over the broken down relationship between the two, the lack of respect, both thinking that the other one was the one who messed up the loyalty between them, both blaming each other. Things get heated. Cole tells them to stop. He wants them to shake hands. Banks is more than happy to shake Bayley's hand before their WrestleMania blow-off. Bayley refused. She's so angry with Sasha Banks and her behaviour in the build-up to this match that she storms off. We then get a bizarre and quite frankly jarring episode of Firefly Funhouse. It's not featuring Bray Wyatt, but Kane. He's once again in that horrible sweater, and he's in a great mood. He can't wait to see The Fiend v Undertaker. The idea is for it to just be an unsettling, odd scenario and make you question where will Kane fit in, if at all, to this Fiend Taker match at WrestleMania. We then get a video package hyping the rivalry between Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura and their match that will take place at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. Daniel Bryan's angle has basically been that Nakamura was one of the people who made him so desperate to get back in the ring. He retired in 2016 just as Nakamura came into the WWE. Eventually they will get their chance to face off. I think this is the first proper meaningful one-on-one match they've had, and I think it'll be a great WrestleMania match, but the storyline is that Nakamura hasn't been himself. He hasn't been that huge prospect that everybody believed he'd be. He has been a bit of a disappointment is what we're putting across in the storyline, and we're hoping that we can bring that fire out of him for a hugely significant match at WrestleMania. Before that main event, Zayn cuts a promo. He's going to prove he still has that fire. He still has the hunger to compete. Just because he's took a sideline to help the careers of Nakamura and Cesaro doesn't mean that he is any less of a competitor than he was. And he proves that really in a very good main event match, a 70 rating for Sami Zayn and 84 for Daniel Bryan. Bryan off his game, which is very rare. I'd imagine we won't see many of those even if we did a 2, 3, 4 year save with WWE, because he is somebody who is very consistent and he does pick up a victory in 12 minutes and 27. By no means is it a one-sided match, and Zayn does do a good job, but Bryan having too much since he is the one in the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania. After the match, Daniel Bryan stands tall in the ring. Nakamura comes out and goes face to face with him. The commentator is putting over that there is definitely an intensity in the eyes of Shinsuke Nakamura, just like there has been in the last few weeks. He has definitely shown something more than he had over the last 12 to 18 months, and they will face off, as I've said a million times, at WrestleMania. We come back for the final segment of the show and the hype for what is potentially the WrestleMania main event. I'm not 100% decided which match will go last yet. I've got a few options. Goldberg comes out, Reigns comes out, and Goldberg is teasing that he's going to go for a spear on Roman Reigns through his words and through his actions. It doesn't happen, however, but as Goldberg goes to leave, Roman calls him back and goes for a spear of his own. However, a homage to when Bret did it to Goldberg, the tables turned, Roman Reigns is taken out completely. The commentators are shocked. What the hell has gone on? Goldberg revealing that he had a metal plate under his t-shirt. He had baited Reigns in and outsmarted him just 48 hours before WrestleMania. Is the veteran Bill Goldberg going to be too smart for Roman Reigns in one of the main events of WrestleMania? And a brilliant 100 A-star rated segment. Literally couldn't ask for a better way to end the build to WrestleMania and the end of that long road to the biggest event of the year. Both improvising well, both going off script well, so that was a good decision not to script the segment. And a 90 A rating, so a great great go-home show, the final show before WrestleMania. There must be huge heat on a number of our top storylines. I will look at that after actually, and might put that into the WrestleMania video just to show how the storylines have built, which ones are doing well and which ones not so well. That is the Road to WrestleMania complete. There's just one last thing to do, and that is book WrestleMania 36, coming soon.